All right. Doing a little bit more. So we have pretty much everything in on my paper design. Um, we have the front attack. We have the double back attack, which is now triple attack. And triple attack is now quad attack. And then backstab, we have those. So again, we're finally down to where I've kind of been a little bit stumped. Backstab. I need to convert some of these into my other stuff. Let me maybe start that. A new canvas. We'll call this class designs. Got rogue, mage, I should say, fire mage, cleric, horror, archer, and then enchanter. Oops. Just positional based. Debuffs and buffs that are used as ammo to empower other abilities. Abilities change based on the position against the target. And we'll start doing like backstab. Powerful, slow, powerful, stationary targets. High resource. Why does it keep zooming out? That's really annoying. High resource cost. Is there a way to stop that? Obsidian keeps zooming out of canvas. I don't know. It's kind of annoying. So this is also like this is positional advantage. We have backstab. And this is like, could also do another one, like behind, front, left, right. This is going to be double strike. Which is these are small hits, good for procs. And mostly intended for solo duos. Lower stamina cost. Higher threat of being hit. Okay, I'm going to leave this here for a second. I'll just copy this over to playtest notes on polish. And I'll put a pin in that. Those are just random ideas. I can probably just take this out. Just stick it in a note for now. All right. So I'm going to make the left and right definitely like situational things. I also might do, so I'm going to add an element. Let's close out of this for a sec. We're going to add an element, and that's going to be bleed. So I want to separate and give different levers for physical damage and bleed damage. So to do that, I need a new element, which is just adding to an enumeration. which is in statistics, I believe. Or type. Maybe it is in. It should definitely be here. Huh. Could be bleed. And now we have to go to stats. Oh, I also have to do. Oh no, I don't have to do that. Or do I? Do I need a bleed resistance? I guess I kind of do if I'm doing it this way. Yeah, I'm going to need to duplicate this. Resistance, bleed. And then resistance. Okay. Hello. My right click wasn't working. Resistance, bleed. And then resist all. Okay. Let's look at this. We'll just do a find all references. Make sure it's all checked. And then let's do a find all in the project. Make sure. Drink some coffee. All right, looks good. And now I also need to add it to, let's close this out again. The Giga enumeration for stat all. Resist bleed. Have I been working for 8 hours? No. I did a bunch of work, and hello, Alex. Did a bunch of work this morning, But there was some AFKs there for like an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours. Because I had to cook food for my kids, and I was AFK. I thought it was going to be like 30 minutes. Turned out to be like an hour and a half, 2 hours. So it is AFK there. And then took a break, ate some food. I just had one game of League. Found out I was lagging like crazy, so I was like, logged off League. Had to drive my kids a few places here and there. Made some more food, and now I've started up again. Did a little bit of work offline, but oh, life of indie dev. Set stat. Okay, I need a resist thing to copy. Add it to my giant list of things I need to clean up at some point. But that point is not today. Bleed. So bleed unclamp. And then bleed here. And then we'll go for, where's the base? Base water. And then bleed. And base. Okay, get statistic base value. So I did that. Get the bleed base. And then we go back. We set statistic. And I have all the bleed stuff up here. Bleed on camp. Yep. Okay. A little passionate feeling from you. Keep it up. Thank you so much, Alex. I appreciate it. You know, it's you know, I'm at that stage. Like, unfortunately, the games industry sucks right now. So, I'm just one of those people that have been unemployed for a year and a half, and so might as well put myself used to somehow. And that's what I'm doing. I'm building a couple different projects. So, resist is going this way, I think. And then this one is there. Set statistic is good. Get statistic is literally just the get, right? Get the bleeds. Bleed, unclamp, bleed. Okay. But I very much value the motivation. It definitely helps a lot. Why is this not resist bleed? And stagger. That should be there. Okay. So I think I have all that in. So bleed's been added. Bleed damage type has been added to the game. So now the base value needs to be set, I'm sure. Player master. And we're going to go to stats. Oh, I guess I just need to do that. And then let's go resist. I guess I copied these, so it's there is that. Base is all 0. So I think that's fine. And then if I go here, and stats, base, it's all 0. So I think that's fine. Let's go to, I think I have 2 bleeds right now. Well, for the classes that have bleed. So the warrior has a bleed. So we're going to change both of these to bleed damage. And then the rogue has a couple bleeds. Open wound. And then there's Gorge as well. And so what this does is it really lets me play with different values and builds. And so increasing physical damage won't increase bleed damage, and vice versa. So that makes me create some distinct buffs and whatnot, debuffs and debuffs. So now let's test this. Back to our test level. I think tomorrow I'm going to make it attempt to make it a content day. I need to do all my class previews and think of the kind of environment I want to do it in. Alright, let me just make sure bleed is not broken. Okay, so it's still ticking. So nothing broke. So that's good. And now we'll do some random debuff. So let's, I guess, do Gorge. We'll swap out Gorge for just amplify bleed. We'll just real quickly set it to a duration. We're going to set to resist bleed. And we're going to subtract the value of, I guess, 2. Oh, I need it to, I guess it doesn't matter if it's, what I set it to. Okay, I set it to duration. Okay. Do I have a name on that? Okay. Alright, so we're going to apply the bleed there. Apply the bleed. Apply the bleed. So we're ticking for 12. Right? 13, 12. And now if I do gorge, it's still ticking for 12. Duration, negative, enemy, bleed, subtract, resist, bleed. A value of 2. Oh, maybe that's why. Gorge is even supposed to have stacks, so. So 8, 8. Okay, there's a error. Is it a warning thing? What? Duration, negative, bleed, subtract, resist, bleed. A value of 1. That should work. Okay. Now it's working randomly. So 8. Main course is not a valid statute ID. Okay, Gorge is doing something weird. Does it have whatchamacallit said? Stat? That's what the problem is. How much do you think you need to program to make a game? Talking about C++, Python, etc. I like to try and make a game, but I know so little about programming. It's a little bit scary. So I started with like 0 knowledge of game programming. I use everything I do is blueprint code. That's all this type of stuff. It's all boxes, dragging lines, all these things. I have a actual course that Epic Games themselves paid for me to do. It's on Coursera. It's free. Ignore the weird start date. it treats you as a completely new game developer. So it brings you through all the basics, and it's a very good all-around course that we were paid to do. I don't get any kickbacks or anything. We did courses 5 through 8, and a few other awesome authors did 1 through 4. But our courses 5 through 8 are like all inclusive, so you can start at 5 if you wanted to and go through them. I've got a lot of good feedback about them. The only caveat is as the course launched, unfortunately technology moves very fast, and they did their big, they basically closed down their Unreal Engine marketplace, which is what we use for the course and the course content, and transferred it to Fab. And so some things might not, some like free assets might not be available that were in the course, but you can use whatever assets you want. It's not like a game break or anything like that. But basically, I go through a lot of different theory as well. And then the last course is all about creating game mechanics through blueprint code. And it teaches you 6 different game modes of action, combat, stealth, survival, platformer, capture the flag, story, and crafting. So if you're interested in jumping in learning just whatever, I highly suggest the course that Epic paid us to do. You know, I also like, I don't know what type of games you like to make, but there's a new platform out called Sandbox, and just like Roblox, just like Unreal Engine Fortnite Creative, this is just like a platform for quick games to do stuff on. If you're kind of like an early person that gets in on those platforms, you can sort of become a leader in that space. And so the people that jumped on Fortnite Creative have had like, paid opportunities to either work for Epic or to build games for other people because they learned basically UEFN and Verse, the scripting language for UEFN, because they were early adopters for it when it first came out. So Sandbox is another new platform that might get there. There's always a risk that it doesn't go anywhere, but there's always an upside that if you go into it now and it works out, you could be a leader in that space. So there's always pros and cons of learning. If you want to be a bit more safe in what you learn, pick a game engine to learn. There's obviously depends on the type of game you want to learn as well. Obviously, I always say like you can do 2D games in Unreal Engine, but you're going to have to build a lot of those tools that might come out of the box of like Godot and Unity. But if you're thinking about 2D games, Godot or Unity might be a better choice. Obviously, right now everyone's mostly suggesting Godot over Unity as one of the two of them. But those are some of the things. I love blueprints. It hasn't nothing stopped me so far. As you can tell, I'm building an Indie MMO, the online playtesting, and all these things. So, is there a way I can support directly your project? I don't have much as college student, but I would like to buy you a coffee. Just my Twitch stream. Anything there would be that kind of support is the best thing right now. And I'll link you my Twitch stream. Basically, I just got affiliate, but I'm on my way to try and do a partner push at some point. So basically, I'm trying to, because the state of MMOs and crowdfunding is a little bit iffy at this moment. So if I can fund the game through like Twitch ads, like that would be the best case for me. And so right now I'm just kind of focusing on getting my Twitch numbers up type thing. So that would be much appreciated. Thank you very much. And you don't have to do that, but I definitely appreciate it. Yeah, outside of that, again, You don't have to sub, watching liking our content, making comments on stuff, all those things always helps. We're always trying to get more people for playtesting. So if you're in a college, like a huge help would be just gathering a group of people that might be interested in playing and come to our playtest. Um, all those things are super helpful. There's a lot of non-financially ways to support the project. Okay. Back here. This needs to be checked off. I still had some settings that weren't supposed to be checked on here. Take that off. Default to 0. Not that matters, but whatever. Yeah, basically, I feel like we're kind of like that glass is filling up with water, right? And there's a lot of indie MMO projects getting a little bit of, I wouldn't say virality, but a lot of eyes on their projects. And um, that's all I kind of really want right now. Because I do intend to get a publisher. We have very far beyond a vertical slice demo thing you would need to go to a publisher. Just indie MMO scares everyone away right now. So if we can gather enough following that shows, hey, we have this the running joke, right? Like publishers almost called pub bleachers at this point, and it's like, oh, you have a fully flushed out demo vertical slice, and you have a decent following along with it. Okay, yeah, we think we can approve that funding, sure, because all the risk is gone. Yeah, okay, sure, that type of thing. And so we have the prototype, we have the gameplay. For no, projects don't get this far along before funding, typically, and we are. And so the project state itself is pretty far along. All right, what am I doing? And so I know we could get this thing funded. Well, I just think right now we need either A, the following, or two, get my, because it's one of those things where we don't need a $2 million budget to technically build this. We just need to pay our monthly expenses, right? Fortunately, we're in Northern California, so it's expensive, but we're just two people right now. Thank you so much. I love that. Thank you, Alex. I so much appreciate the sub. It's so cool to start getting so I only got affiliate on Twitch like a week or two ago, and so the fact that I'm getting subs now is just blowing my mind. Um, Thank you very much. Yeah, again, we've had this path of sort of. We started out as indie devs in 2015. We did the indie dev grind. We actually were a little bit more on the startup side just because of, I guess, the nature of the time. It was um, there's a lot of startup, influencers and stuff. So we started a bit more on the startup side of things, being more creatives, creating pitch decks, trying to get funding that way. We had zero development skills whatsoever. We had to, attempt to build something and scrap together something, like learning at engines and things. Unreal Engine was still a paid monthly subscription at the time. Um, we created a half-assed prototype. It wasn't even like a real combat or anything. It was like a scripted event thing. Um, We pitched that a bunch, failed miserably, and we ended up getting a little bit of hype with Castle Day. I can show you some of my past work. Um, we had a little bit of, we did that's another thing to do is like participate in game jams just to like, just for the fun of it. This is like our older company that does vertical third. But you can see a bunch of our old content there. Castle Day was like kind of our major project that like had a spark of excitement. Um, I'll show you the game jam that we did way back in 2018. It was kind of it was a take on asymmetrical combat and or asymmetrical like King of the Hill style game. Um, and then we had a version that was like version 1.0. Then we had a version 2.0 because we felt like we needed more depth. And then we got there, and then it's like we still need more depth. So I did a version 3.0, and then at that point we got our first mega grant, and we're like, we had already been building our tools for vertical third, and we're like, okay, well, 25K isn't enough to really build out a game, so I guess we'll just do our tech stuff. So we built out a massive game architecture. If you didn't know that, we have a tech channel, right? And we're using vertical third to power Ruins of Tearyn, right? So Ruins of Tearyn is kind of a double product for us. It's like, hey, come play our awesome, fun indie MMO. And by the way, it's powered by Vertical Third, which is our awesome game tech, you know. So it's trying to like do both. And because we learned very pretty quickly after we launched the product is like selling game tech is very hard to do unless you have a game that proves what it can do. And so we got to the point where we couldn't work on Vertical Third because it wasn't profitable at all. We've done updates, small updates here and there, but just we're always like working on different projects we're trying to get funded and stuff. Right, that's the wrong thing. Okay, let's do it over here. So this just does no damage at the moment. 15. 17. Okay. And then we go over here, and then we do this. 7. 9. 8. And then we do Gorge. Now it's 18. 15. So it's going up now. So now we're going to put this back to what it was, tick. And it was health current. And 3 and 3. Yeah, I think I just need to copy that. Okay, all right, that's good. And then no stacks, Gorge crit, no stacks. But yeah, so we're moving along, trying to stay positive. It's a lot of BS in the industry right now. Um, so we're trying to just keep our heads down, get some things, try and work on different projects at different funding levels. Like we have a project under 200K, we have a project around 700K. We have Ruins of Tearyn, which is more like the $2 to $3 million project. So we have them at different varying levels and things. I get that. It's been years since I played a game I fully enjoyed. Yeah. Um, the reason why we're building Terran is because we feel like no one's going to build the MMO we want to play, right? Everything's so fast-paced. Everything's just button mashing. Like I really enjoyed New World, but then the meta for dungeons was me as a tank trying to desperately aggro everything in a room while my mage and like rogues or whatever they were fly past me, pulling everything, dying, complaining in chat that that everyone sucks when they would rather risk everyone's time to be 20 to 25-minute run instead of just going a bit slower, making sure it's a 15 to 18-minute run. But it's just go fast, AoE cleave everything, and then skip as much as you can and get to the bosses, full risk, you know? And I've just started to completely hate how MMOs do dungeons. Just this giant pull everything AoE cleave is just it's just kind of it doesn't seem like, I don't know, it just sucks in my opinion. So that's one of those things to me. And then, not being able to chat in group, you have to like run with the group, you have to spam your buttons with the group. There's no downtime, it's just go, 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 go. The social aspect is obviously something I miss as well. Just like having fun with people, chatting and talking, whatever. Getting to know people. I've always been introvert. I don't know what the word is today, but I've been a bit of an introvert. A massive introvert in person. But then, like, I enjoy meeting people through the internet, so I'm not as introverted online. And so these MMOs that just, like, the social aspect is so far removed now. And it is by design. Even, like, a lot of the WoW designers talk about how, like, matchmaking and stuff is ruining MMOs. Which is why we don't have instance content. Everything's open. Everything, dungeons aren't instanced. With the one exception of, yes, we might get the layering when one dungeon's full. We might have to open another one. But yeah. Okay. Putting myself back on track. So bleed has been implemented. Let me like quickly jot down some notes here. Patch notes. All right, next patch for June. What did I say? June 26th, 30th. Rogue redesign. I still can't get over that. Okay, I'll leave that there. And then we'll do bug fixes. Animation bug should be fixed. New mechanic. Actually, I'll do it right. New mechanic. When your auto attacks reset your ruins from. I'm going to study thanks to the company and the information. As always, dude, I'm always here to help other developers, especially new ones. If you have any questions with the industry about anything game development related, I'll give you a hand and point in any direction you need to. When your auto attacks reset from your ruins from R3 to R1, this can now be a trigger. For the rogue, this means when his auto attacks reset his their ruins, it will proc a what do I call it? Steel power spell ability, which stacks. I guess there's no point in putting it here. Sure. I guess I will put it here. Whatever. Delete. Okay. When your auto attacks reset for the rogue, this means that when your auto attacks reset from R3 to R1, you initiate a steel power ability. This can stack up to 4 times based on the position, based on your position to your enemy target. Steel power amplifies your, I think it's Q abilities for dodge, evasion, sprint, and haste. No, flurry. Say attack speed. Dodge, sprint, I need to get my son to do some like concept arts or something for me. I probably need to work on a web page soon. I hate doing websites. Partly because I know website programming, and I always want to make something custom, and it's just annoying. Okay, so now that bleed damage is in the game, let me do a save all. We'll do update, redirectors. Well, I am still happy though, because the rogue is almost done. I have 4 more abilities. I guess 6, but I sort of had a good direction here. We're going to make the left side and right side to be like situational bonuses. And so part 1 of them is going to be like I think bleed damage. You can probably put anything damage related is going to be on 3. I don't think I'm going to do backstab and powers, although it would kind of feel really nice. I like the idea of when you're thinking about class designs, right? Like, you have to think about not only solo, but also duos, and then also group compositions, right? And so, what if you have 2 rogues in the group randomly? You want to have enough things for them to do that they can like work together on stuff. And so, one can be the person that does extra bleed damage, and the other one applies bleeds, stuff like that. This tooltip on this ability is going to be frickin' massive. Okay, so I have bleed damage on 1. What else? This is the stuff that's like, this is the one thing that's stumping me a little bit. Because part of my design for Tearyn is to be having a lot of situational uses. I'll be like reducing cooldowns by quite a bit. They'll be barely there at all. And there's just going to be a lot of resource management. And so the more powerful spell something is, the higher the mana cost is going to be, or stamina cost. And you can use that spell constantly if you want, but it's going to drain your mana. And so if you get ads or something spawns on top of you, you could be dead in the water if you're not careful. All right. I have a snare already. I have healing reduction already. Um, we have bleeds. Um, we have a bleed that does more bleed based on other bleed, burst, execute type thing. Because bleeds are all bleeds. There's no like execute bleed thing, so that's fine. I'm going to have to make sure that this is somehow I could make this potentially bleed damage. Doesn't make much sense to do that. To do it that way. This is a lot of game development right here, just staring at your designs. And so I do like this too because I randomized the weak point. Oh, I need to put that in chat too. What's it? Targeting decal advantages, disadvantages, team fights. Not team fights, in encounters. Oh, and up here, using ability at 3 ruins will not trigger this effect. Only rotating ruins from 3 to 1 will trigger. Provides further decision making during combat on whether or not you should simply just auto attack. versus use an ability. Okay. Documenting my changes. Sometimes it can be hard to remember everything you change. So we have a left combo point builder, which is just they apply a stack of something, and a right combo point builder applies a stack of something. And then the R2 and R3 and are spenders of some sort. So we have a increased bleed damage debuff, or lower bleed resistance. And then, which is like for everyone's debuffs, right? So now the warrior and you are doing more bleed damage over time. And then just a big damage proc thing here. But it requires a lot of investment to do so. And so the key factor here is maybe it's worth doing this over a backstab if they're like moving around, they're a bit more they're not as stationary. And then what else? I guess in the end, this takes even more stamina to use, but is a bigger burst of damage compared to backstab, because you technically have to stack it 3 times to do so. At least 3 times. I wonder if I could just do like so if I do that, then what is the next ones down? Do I still have them bleed related? So we have backstab that's slow, but big damage. We have combo points that can add up, but lots of there's a lot of time investment into doing those things, but it's a bit more mobile. Their attacks will be a little bit faster there. And there might be some the difference between these two is one might be better than the other based on the weak point of the target. And so if the weak point is on the backside, maybe you do your backstab. If it's on the right side, you do the right combo thing, and it gives a different, a little bit of a gameplay feel difference. I already have too many bleed stuff, so I can't do more bleeds. It has to be something else. I could do something in the line of like an acrobatic move or a kick, or like the rogue already has a kick, and that's their stun. I could do a stun. That is a possibility. But I've already got a lot of stuns in the game. I have the enchanter stuns, the warrior stuns, so I don't want to like overdo stuns. And everything gets just CC'd like crazy. I already have power reduction. I have a dodge. I have a sprint. I have attack speed buff. Um, I could do some sort of like disengage ability once you jump out of combat or something, which does have situational uses. But it doesn't really make sense to put that on a combo builder. Excuse me. Oh yeah, I could use some sort of ultimate thing. Rotation set triggers for the right and left side. Humna 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 humna. Yes. What is on E again? It's weak point, arms, legs, stagger. Oh, I could randomly do a bonus to throw dagger. That's not terrible. Okay. Which helps you almost be a little bit of a ranged champion. In like, in like mage fights. So it's like, I kind of like that. Bonus to throw dagger. Which is not bonus, it's empower. That's kind of nice. For ranged fights when running out range. Okay, not bad. Technically only need one more ability. And I think we're good. I will say this, doing this rogue design has helped me a lot with another set of iteration um, on my rotation run system. It's actually like a really cool, plus getting the randomized bonus damage in to different directions was really nice. So more range damage on a power throw, which can also help you, like if a target's running away, help you finish it off, like while also staying out of range of maybe other monsters that might add. Um, One more fucking thing. What else? Could be something for like restoring stamina, but it just doesn't really make much sense because you're just gonna have to use a bunch of stamina to get it back, and it's like what? Leaked token and API key. It's GG. For what? Is that better? How you doing, Jack? uh, Thank you. I'm here. I'm building an indie MMO. Clodding it up. Oh, are you clodding it up? Nice. Yeah, I'm a traditional programmer with blueprint code, whatever that means. But I do blueprint code in Unreal. But I'm building an indie MMO. We play test at the end of every month if you're interested in playing. This is my testing level, so don't be too scared away from it. But we have 3 core systems. It's our rotation rune combat, which just means that we have 8 buttons on the bottom. And as you auto attack, you swap through your 3 ruins, and your abilities will do different things based on what stage your ruins are at. The rogue's kind of complicated because they're a positional-based character or class. So technically on my R button I have 12 abilities because I have, R1 from the front, R1 from the left, the back, the right, and then I have R2 from the front, left, back, and right, and then R3 from the front, left, back, and right. So it's a little complex, but and then when your ruins are red, it means you have a critical ability. There's no like random crit chance in the game, and so if I throw a dagger, it'll crit type thing, and it gets extra stats and stuff. And then there's even more things, like if I reset my ruins, there's a trigger at this point if you auto attack, and it gives me steel power buff, and I can continue to stack that based on different positions against the target. So I'm on the left hand side now, and I go over here, I'm on the back side, and so it'll continue to trigger and things. So there's a lot of other things like that. But then we also have so the rotation rune combat system. I've completed the class redesigns for the Mage, Warrior, Cleric, and Enchanter. And just so you know, like we say we're EverQuest and WoW had a baby with modernized quality of life features. So we believe in having like a world map, being able to see at nighttime, monsters leash, a lot of these things. And so we have our rotation rune combat system, which is very, very unique. Then we have our Registry of Chronicles, which is basically merging quest systems and achievements together. And so instead of going to a quest hub and getting a stupid fetch quest, you just go kill 10 bears, right? And then you get bonus experience and stuff for doing so. So here I had 50 wolves killed. Boom, I've gotten 1,500 experience. We have that for exploration, gathering, crafting, all the different things. And right now it's only experience, but in the future, you could be a cleric, and maybe you have to kill 100 undead to get the Smite Undead spell. It's all like, personal progression, personal loot for your character class. That goes right in line with, I don't know what your MMO history is, but in EverQuest there is kind of a social construct of camps, and you go around different areas and kind of claiming camps, and that's where you'd XP at. And so we're designing actual systems around that. So when you open up the map, you can kind of see the different camps, what bosses, like obviously this is kind of primitive tooltips right now, but you can see what type of bosses spawn, what type of loot is there. And so you can go with your group, or with yourself or your group to go kill some of this stuff. The influence is how we split it up. Outdoor zones are more catered to WoW, so a lot more solo friendly, a lot more solo, duo, trio type thing. You can split spawns easily. Bosses that spawn you can, if you're good enough, maybe you can actually solo them. But at the easiest, it's probably duo or trioable for bosses. And then dungeons eventually. We have one dungeon right now, but the only thing in it is a level 20 raid boss. And then we have like a zone, like a group of 6 people, a boss type thing right here. But the raid boss there in the dungeon eventually will be at the bottom of the level, and that's where it's going to be a lot more catered towards EverQuest, where it's more difficult. You have to come prepared. Hopefully you have all your resources, consumables, all these different things, and you won't be able to get those consumables when you're down there. So that is, and then on the topic of camps, we actually have a metamorphosis crafting skill to create crystals. Those crystals can actually increase the level of monsters at these camps. So if you're level 15 and you're like trying to get an item here, you can actually use the crystals to boost it, +5. And now instead of levels 10 to 14, they're level 15 to 19. And that's going to increase the XP, better loot. Like in the newbie yard, everything has a max level 8. But then if you upgrade them one level, some of them will spawn at level 9, and now they can drop green loot, whereas previously they couldn't drop green loot. In the future, it's not implemented yet, but bosses will, at some point, like +4, will spawn as fabled versions of themselves and be a much harder experience fight, and probably require a full group, while also dropping enhanced versions of their loot as well. All the loot that drops, even at lower levels, will be used in crafting ingredients for higher level items. So it's a game that's really about the journey, and if you rush to late a game, you're just going to have to come back here and farm your items to get what you need for future crafting recipes. And that's kind of like the very quick and easy rundown. I do have a overview video on our, I did a devlog recently on our core systems that goes a little bit more into detail with everything. But last month I got four those 4 classes kind of done, and then I kind of like a half version of the rogue done, which is why I'm working on this month, trying to finish the rogue and the archer, and then I have a few things to polish that I want to get polished on, and we're got some cool stuff in store. So I continue to iterate with my rotation ruin combat, and I'm continue to find different ways to make it have more depth, and it's only getting better and better. So it's becoming pretty cool. Okay, I want to figure this out. I want to figure out this last thing. Hmm. Hum 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 hum. What is it we're going to do here? It can get very difficult to so the issue that ends up happening, because we're not a button mash your rotation game, every time you put an ability in, it has to have like a very distinct identity. Otherwise, because I'm going to do a playtest with very limited cooldowns, and so if everything's off cooldown, someone's going to figure out like the best button to push, and then you're only going to push that button. So you need to create a lot of situational use case buttons that have distinct flavors of usefulness. And so backstab is high damage, but it has a cast time to it. And so if the target's moving, it's just going to go out of range, and you can't backstab. And same goes for maybe if it's about to cast a spell, you might not be able to use backstab. Whereas these left side and right sides, I'm going to make a little bit more mobile, less cast time, if any. And then the frontal attack is it's double attack, triple attack, double strike, triple strike, and quadra strike. And those are you can only use from the front of the target. So there's always a chance that, you know, if the monster cleaves or something, there's going to be a risk. It's meant to be for like soloing and stuff, but it's doing multiple hits at lower damage, so it's good for proccing things. And so if an enchanter throws a damage proc on you, that might be the better damage thing to use. But maybe you don't always have an enchanter around. Or maybe you get a weapon that has a proc on it, and now it's actually useful. More useful to use frontal attacks. But while you do that, you know, most monsters might have a potential to do more damage from the front type thing. There's more chance of you getting hit by something. I just want to finish this design, and then tomorrow I can implement this stuff and work on the animations and polish of the class. After that, I'll probably do a little bit of break for polish work, try and get all the polish fixes I want in before I move on to the archer. I think the archer will go a little bit faster because I played an archer in WoW for a very long time, so I have a better idea of what I want to do with it. And this could be a cool thing if you like disengage. So you knock yourself back. Knock yourself backwards. Plus empower to throw dagger, maybe. So you actively knock yourself backwards, or jump back, whatever. And then at the same time, you get like one empowered throw, or maybe two empowered throws or something. So you knock yourself back, throw, kill something. Kind of feels very roguelike. I like that. Now how could I make that like a 2-button combo? It'd actually be better. Maybe I just don't make these combo point spenders. This could be just disengage. And this could do power throws. I could make both of these actually throw. I could make throw dagger a R2 ability. Yeah, I would think I'm going to make these not combo points. Um, or maybe only one of them is. So disengage will use your combo points. And then you can I could just do different variations of disengage. Um, I could make it completely a mobility skill, which is kind of interesting. Um, hmm. So it could look like lower bleed resistance. Empower throw. This could be like teleport or like dash to target. Dash away from target. And then Dash to target, dash away from target. I don't know if that fits on left though. Does it? I think I like this the most. Because it's like higher damage, so it's going to need to be higher cost. These are mobility things, so lower cost, they're not going to do any damage. And then we need something in the middle as well. This is looking nice though. And I could have these actually increment ear rotation runes to 2. Potentially. That's pretty close to being done. We're almost there. So close, so close. Come on, Chris. I can do this. Damn it. don't know, maybe my brain's tapped out right now. I could put in like a sort of a dodge. Maybe like a dodge, almost like a parry. But you can't move. Like your stealth or something. So it feels a little different from the archer. Because the archer gets a dodge roll. But yeah, so you can do an R3, power throw. Then you can do dash away from target and then throw your dagger. That's kind of a fun combo. Hmm. I know it looks like I'm not doing anything right now, but I am thunkering in my head. But I think I might admit defeat for today, and I got almost everything I wanted done today, which is implement all of the current stuff I had designed, which I did. Then I added a whole new resistance, so I got that in. I think I have a really good direction now with this stuff. Um, I suppose there's something I could do that's cleave oriented. I still don't think I like that idea. I don't want the rogue to do anything to do with cleave. Or multi-target stuff. Hmm. I like the idea of like dash away from the target, increase your ruins, then empower throw. So, and then maybe we just do maybe empower throw. And this is actually going to be like throw, you know, ninja star, you know, whatever. And then this is throw ninja star. So your thing is dash away, empower your throw, and then use your throw. And then throw dagger. The other one is much less powerful. And the next one is dash to the target. Lower bleed resistance. Of course, there's lots of things we can do. The dash to the target, but I like this though. Like right is where you disengage. You can empower your star, and you throw a star. So I like that. And then you can, at that point, you reset your ruins, so you could re-engage, lower resistance. And then this thing has to be a little bit situational. Because you could lower resistance, or you could do any other R2 thing. Dash to the target, lower their bleed resistance. Hmm. Is there something else I do with bleeding? I don't think so. Dash to target. I still think the lower bleed resistance is probably 3. Um, like an empower bleed thing wouldn't make much sense because you probably don't have bleeds up yet. It needs to be more situational. I could just make this like empower, throw, dagger, or something else. But then it's like, what do they do? You know? Um, I already have a throw dagger, and now adding a throw ninja star is just a higher damage ranged attack. I could do like throw. So one could be the same thing as like before, like the proc versus big damage. So, um, and this is going to be like throw ninja stars, whatever. And so one of these is going to actually be throw like sword or something. Or axe, you know, that type of thing. So it's like the high damage burst versus the multi-hit proc. And then you can choose to use them normally or to empower them first and then use them. And there could be different range variations too, like maybe ninja stars are a longer range. And throw sword is like medium range. I like this. Longer range, multi-hits, medium range, big hit. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna implement this tomorrow and then see how it feels. And then basically we also have to do like nerf throw dagger to be pretty weak. To be weak. Okay, I think I figured this out. I think this is good. It's something to start with. It's very situational stuff. Giving the rogue a little bit of range. It's meant for very situational things. And depending on what you have, like what buffs you have, maybe you have up, a stagger proc, and so you want to throw multiple hits. And then maybe you just have a big damage proc, and so you want to like execute type thing. And I think this will feel interesting and good. We'll see. This might, if it's not accurate enough, it could feel really bad. But anyways, that's it for me today. Thank you for watching. I should hopefully be done the rogue tomorrow, at least from a design perspective, and at the very least implementation perspective. And then I'll be working on the kind of effects, some of the damage stuff, animations, those type of things. Thank you for watching.